Hi, and welcome back to the Defining Wellness Confab, sponsored by You Define Wellness. I'm Denise O'Malley, the founder of You Define Wellness, and I am so delighted to introduce you through the course of this 48-session confab to introduce you to a bunch of health and wellness professionals. Our theme for this conference or this summit or the forum or whatever you want to call it is becoming the director of your own healthcare. And one of the things when you step away from traditional medical insurance, you frequently don't know where to get started or know that there are these people out there who can help you. And so that's what we're doing is we're creating this library with these incredible speakers to guide you through the process and see whether or not it's someone you want to work with just by getting to watch the video. So today I am delighted to bring to you Julie Korotkin. She is with Evolved Journey, and she has a subject that is so near and dear to my heart, which is how to help your adult child succeed without pushing them away. So Julie, welcome. I am so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much, Denise. I'm super excited.
Awesome. And I am turning it over to you now.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and share my slides. And I only have your things here, Denise. So I'm looking for mine. It says options are not available when multiple people can share at the same time. I don't know how to make my slides happen from your end. Do you have an idea? Okay.
Yeah, I just made you the host, so you should be able to do it now.
It's not popping up for me. Let's try again. Here's another option. Okay. One more time. They are not there.
Do you have them open on your desktop?
They are open.
We haven't had this problem before, so this is interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Let's see. Portion of screen. I don't know what that means. Here we go. There they are. Okie dokie. Let's go ahead and start. There we go. Good? Looks good from your end? Okay. So like Denise said, I am Julie Korotkin with Evolved Journey, and this talk is entitled From Peace to Panic, How to Help Your Adult Child Succeed Without Pushing Them Away. And I am super excited to be here. It is such an honor. I'm going to share a little bit about myself to begin with. I am a licensed clinical social worker in the state of Colorado, and I have been since 2004. The early part of my career was working with co-occurring mental illness and substance addictions in a psychotherapy type of model. And throughout those years, I specialized in working with trauma, anxiety, depression, other mood disorders, and you know, that other big piece, which was substance addiction. And most of my clients were really, really at their rock bottom. And through that work, I've really learned how to co-create transformation to bring people from the bottom rung of their ladders all the way to becoming contributions to themselves and their families, and to live a life without drugs and alcohol. And another quick note about my professional background: I used to teach at the University of Denver at the Graduate School of Social Work. And when I worked there, I was actually teaching from the other side of the coin about strategic program planning, developing nonprofits, and how to bring services in a measurable, quantified way to the community so that the people receiving the services really got good stuff. So I think it's important for you guys to know a little bit more that's personal to me. When I was a freshman in college, I went off in 1992 with my bags and my backpack, and I was super excited to go to Boulder from Georgia. And it was an exciting time. And unfortunately, by the time March rolled around, my dream of being a student at the University of Colorado was gone. I was whisked away very rapidly by my family and put into a rehabilitation center for drugs and alcohol, where I was unable to speak. And it was terrifying. And my family was told that I may never be able to function again. Clearly, that is not what the outcome was as I am sitting here today having this conversation with you. I went on to earn my bachelor's in social work from Georgia State University, and I earned my master's of social work from New York University. And later, I earned a master's of business administration from the University of Denver. And all of this education combined has been, pivotal in my professional career. And what I'm going to teach you today, had I known this information back then when I took my hard fall to the bottom of my ladder, I might have been having this presentation with you 10 or 15 years ago. And so I'm just super excited to have everyone here. And you know that if you're in the right place, if you or your adult loved one is, sorry about that, is anxious and uncertain about the steps to take in life, next steps to take in life. Maybe you have thoughts and beliefs and head trash and noise getting in the way of creating a life that you love, or you want an awesome life, or they want an awesome life and they just don't know how to go and get it. So just really quickly to give you an idea of where we're going here, you are going to get a new life lens. And this is my model of holistic well-being that I designed back in 2013 after having a huge hip reconstruction. And it took me about 2 years to find out what was wrong and a whole year to recover. So this thing came out of another very challenging experience in my life. And you're going to learn how to use this model of holistic well-being with yourself and others. And ultimately, you'll get a deeper knowing of yourself and your loved ones and how to support people without getting that pushback. Okay? So while I'm talking, I just want to say this. We're going to cover like a ton of information. And I wanted to promise you that I'm going to show you how to get more before this thing is over. Okay, so that I'll give you that opportunity down at the end of my talk. But right now, I just want to jump right in. So if you can just put your questions in the chat, that'd be great. And we can address them when I get to the end. Okay. So the model of holistic well-being. This is your new lens. And this lens is super simple, and there's a reason for it. There's a lot of models out there. When I was early in my career and I was struggling in my own world, trying to find a way to create my life and do things that I really loved, I always found models that were really complex. There's a lot of wellness models out there in the world, and they were complicated and had lots of little check boxes and assessments. And when I'm freaking out personally, and I'm guessing that this is true for a lot of other people too, you're spun up and anxious, complex is not what you're looking for. You're looking for something simple, right? Something simple, something easy. And that's what this does. Now, inside the model itself, there are a lot of details, some of which I'll have time to share with you today, but not all. And those models are what bring together the potency underneath the simplicity, if that makes sense. And it's so important because using this model, you can jump into a situation and make a split-second decision, even inside of a moment of panic or inside the moment of panic of your loved one. So I just want to put a question out there, because this was true for me. I churned in therapy for years and years and years, and it took me a really long time to get where I am now with this life that I love, with kids and a family and all that sort of stuff. And had I had this model, it would have happened a lot faster. And this work that people have the opportunity to do with me will get them out from under the wheel of their psychotherapeutic churn and into action and creating a life that they love. And so I want to go through the model just a little bit and show you kind of some of the ins and outs of how it works and how you can use it to support your loved ones. So I'm going to start at the body. The body, this is that red little figure there in the middle. He's kind of goofy, right? He's got like a clouded head and clouded hands and feet. And there's a reason for that. Our bodies this is our vehicle. It's how we show up in the world. It's, what carries us around. And when we're sick, we're in pain, we have disease, we even have a sniffle, we're not at our full game. And so always we have to take into consideration the condition of the body. Now, he's faded and soft there, and some of these other layers are also faded and soft in between, because these things are all interconnected, right? If you're feeling sick, you're probably going to have some thoughts and feelings about it, right? And it may even affect like your spiritual world. So that's just kind of one of the little details that I wanted to point out. The mind, this is the place that our thoughts live. And this is where that head trash and our belief systems and all this stories and the stuff that we listen to and think are true are usually not. And our mind is also a powerful vehicle for change. Your brain is an organism in and of itself, right? And it's such an amazing little creature. It has all these neural pathways. And you know what? They can be changed. They can be altered and rerouted through practice and intention. And excuse me. And a lot of the work that I offer does that inside of the mind. Now, our next layer is emotional. And to me, this is a two-part place in our world, right? We have our hearts, which is, this is where we give and receive love in our world. And then the rest of our emotions are also in this place, the joy and the bliss and the sadness and the chaos and the confusion and the excitement. And so all of those feelings that live in that place are right here in this layer. The next one is spirit. And I want to touch on this in a little bit of a different way, because I often get the question, what do you mean spirit? What is that? And spirit, inside of spirit, people will say, well, is that religion? Is that spirituality? What is that? And the answer is yes. It is any and all of those things. What is spirit to you is the question that I have. So maybe your spirituality arises from an organized religion like Christianity or Islam or Judaism, right? Or maybe your spirituality arises from the belief in a universal consciousness and the connection of all things. And some people have a mishmash of this stuff. So the spirit layer is so personal and something that can be developed and grown over time. And the next thing in the model I wanted to point out is this dashed ring that lives around the spirit. And this line demarcates the separation of our internal environment to our external environment. And so here we get out of the self and into the system at large, the world at large. And so that next layer is community. Who are your people, right? And that community could be as small as you and your neighbor, or you and your partner, you and your kids, or it could be you and your colleagues, perhaps organizations you belong to. And it really grows all the way to being a part of this global society, right? And this is one of those layers that most people come to with weaknesses in, with a hole in their life. It's amazing to me. We're all living right here, right? This is how we're talking to people. This is how we're communicating in the world. Our screens are how we interact. And we're so lonely, even though we're constantly connected. So I want to give you a quick example of how this worked with a client. I worked with a young woman, and one of her big things was community. And she described herself as someone that had friends. She's got people in her life, and she was happy with the people, but she wasn't connected with them. And she found herself sitting on her couch at home alone all the time with her phone. And she said, I don't want to be that guy. And I said, okay, well, we're gonna start with the internal pieces. And we worked on the anxiety, and we worked on getting that mind, heart, and body piece together, more well aligned for her. She said, okay, you know what? I'm going to reach out to my people now. And ultimately, there were two things that came out of this work. Was one, she created a weekly event with her friends that included a healthy activity, whether it was art or a hike or a tubing trip down the river. She went out there and made that happen. The other thing that showed up out of this that was unexpected was she started going to work in a way that she was able to give and receive feedback that she could hear and they could hear. And she started asking for feedback too. So it wasn't like she was just going and doing her job. Like, she really started showing up in service to herself and to others. It's such a powerful layer and force in all of this, right? And then we have purpose. And purpose to me is your gift. What is your gift? And is that gift being shared with the world? Some people get paid for it. Some people don't. This isn't about money. This is about what you have that's your unique gift to the world and how to get it out there. And so it's hard to see, and I'm going to edit my little model soon, but there is another demarcation between the purpose layer and the environment layer. Because the environment is twofold. There's an internal world. Like, I can clean up my office. I can clean out my car. I can rearrange things in my house to make them more feng shui or, just brighter and cheerier or whatever environment you're trying to create, right? But then there's this environment around us that we have no power and control over. And it could be, the knockdown street sign outside of your neighborhood, all the way to like the current global state of affairs. And that stuff can really impact how we are and how we be in the world, right? And so as you can see, coming up and out of this egg, it looks like an egg, are these hands. And those hands are yours. This is where you get to own your well-being. And that tree is representative of that which you choose to grow. And this is where, in working with me, you get to develop a roadmap to your most amazing life. That's your end game. And is it all going to be perfect? No. Are there going to be days of panic and anxiety or sadness or what have you? Yes. And that's okay. Because we have this tool to help us problem solve and to plan. So I just want to talk a little bit about what I promised, which is how do you use this thing to help yourself and to help the people around you, right? So I'm going to give you another example of a client. This client had been working with me for a while. So the model was something that she had really studied, and it's kind of ingrained in her brain, which is part of the idea. And, excuse me, and she's panicking. She was facing something really stressful in her life, and it required a big decision. And she started hyperventilating in session, and she's freaking out. So very quickly, I said, okay, put your feet on the floor. We're going to take a deep breath in and out. And we grounded, and we connected to the floor and felt our feet on the floor and felt our feet in the chair. And that took about 45 seconds, right? And I said, okay, close your eyes and picture this model in your mind. What strengths do you have right now that you can draw from? Which layers will work for you in getting you through this thing? And she goes, community and mind. That was so simple. And I said, yes, it was. And you know what? Within a week, she had found a solution, and she was off and running on her next action. And so getting really intimately connected to this thing and getting this visual in your mind can help you help yourself and somebody else. So I want to take it and flip it to helping someone else. And excuse me. So let's say that your child, if your adult child who's in their 20s, early 20s, comes to you and they're devastated, just in tears. I didn't get the job. I've been out there trying to get a job. I finally had 2 interviews for one job and I blew it. And I got my rejection notice today. Now, it's really easy to come from the place of judgment and fixing it, right? Like, okay, I've got an answer for you. I'm going to fix it. I encourage you not to go there and to consider going about it this way. First step, what are my strengths that I can use to help support my kid? Close your eyes, picture the model, and say, okay, you know what? I can be an emotional and mental grounding rod for my kid right now. And I can do that. I got the power to do that. And I'm going to be body too and hold their hand, right? Or give them a rub on the back. But you know what? I've got community, and I know people that my kids can go talk to find out what it is that's stopping them from getting the job, or connect to people who maybe are in a field that my kid is interested in, and they can get some more information. So that's one side of it. The other side of it is, how do you talk to your kid instead of going to the fix it place? And you can do the same thing. Say, you know what, my sweet love, you are emotionally intelligent and really, really smart. How can you use your emotional intelligence to get you through this process right now? How can you pull from your driven purpose? Your purpose on this earth, and this is an example, your purpose on this earth is, to design really cool toys, right? And so how can you use that to fulfill and be a part of your world? Is this making sense? And head nods. Okay, good. So those are just two really simple examples. I have some others, but I know that we're kind of close on time, so I don't want to run over. I don't want to run over. And it's just amazing to me how excuse me, how powerful this thing can be. I am going to share this story. I think it's important. So in 2014, I was 40 years old and I had my first baby. And 48 hours after my son was born, the doctors came in and said, we think both of your son's hips are dislocated and you need to see an orthopedic hip surgeon. And I was crushed. I mean, crushed. I had finally come out of my own hip reconstruction. And in my head, the hip story was over. I was done. And I'm being told that this beautiful little baby boy in my arms has really serious hip dysplasia. We go to the surgeon. I'm hysterical. I yelled at this man. We've developed a good relationship since. And he said, your child is going to have a limp. He is never going to be able to run or jump or climb or ride a bike. And I was devastated. And I came home and I'm laying in my office and I'm crying on my floor going, what am I going to do? Universe, give me a sign, give me something. And I look over in the corner and there's this sort of crushed piece of paper with the original form of this model on it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that. And it was really the first time I'd ever applied it in my life. And I said, I got my mind, body, heart, spirit, and I know I need community around this thing. And I'm going to figure this out. And you know what? Using this model got me clear, got me focused, got me grounded. And my son is 5 years old and he is running, jumping, climbing, playing, and riding a bike. and that's really how I ended up being right here, right now. Okay. It is powerful. Now, look, I know that I've covered a ton of information in these few short minutes. And I promised you that I was going to give you a way, excuse me, I was going to give you a way to get more and to talk with me more. And so that's what I'm going to do. I want to offer everyone who's on this call or who's listening to the recording of this call a one-on-one free panic to peace discovery call. I only have 11 spots. One-on-one is like time consuming and I want to make sure I have the energy to focus and give you my best. So there is a limit on how many people I can offer this to. The value of the call is usually $497 and your cost is $0. I'm giving this to you as a gift for being here and being committed today. The catch is that you have to qualify for the call. And so in order to qualify, you're going to visit www.evolvejourney.com/ from panic to peace discovery. And there you're going to go fill out your form. And if you qualify, you'll be contacted within 48 business hours of your form submission, if you qualify. And then you've got to schedule within 3 days of receiving your invitation to schedule, or I'm going to give the spot to the next guy on the list. Okay? To qualify for the offer, because I'm sure that's a question that's like hanging out right there, these are the 3 big qualifiers. If you or your loved one, you've got to be coachable, you've got to be committed to building an amazing life. That's a number 1. Number 2, you cannot be suffering from active post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms or any kind of psychosis. The reason being is a lot of my work is subconscious and I don't want to trigger people into a bad place. This is all about creating an awesome life, not getting people set up for failure, correct? Okay. And third, you got to be spiritually minded and open to growing that part of yourself in your life. So, and here's the information. I encourage you, if this thing lights you up, if what I've said speaks to you, please go apply. And if you're on listening to the recording, I encourage you to go ahead and apply anyway, because a lot of times people will sign up and then they fall off and things don't happen. And so you could be the next person to get on that call with me. And I would love to talk with you. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable when they hear free call. Oh, she's going to try to sell me something. I am awful at sales. I have had 2 sales jobs in my life and it's horrible. I am not going to try to sell you something, okay? Like, that's just not my thing. My intention for the call is to help you figure out what your next best step to creating an awesome life for yourself will be. That is the purpose of the call. If you want to talk to me about working with me on the call, that's great. We can totally do that. And I'm not going to try to sell you anything, okay? So again, if you are interested and want to sign up for, qualify for a free discovery call with me, I would love to talk with you. EvolveJourney.com. From panic to peace discovery, fill out the form. I'll contact you in 48 hours of your submission if you qualify, and schedule within 3 days and we'll get to chat. So here's the rest of my contact information. If you'd like to, check me out on LinkedIn or check out my website or give me a buzz, shoot me an email, whatever way works best for you. I'm here and I would love to talk with you. So Denise, I am so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being on it. I gave you host control, so I need you to take the screen off, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
And sorry about that interruption. Just go up the top, so stop share.
It just says, oh, there it is. Pause share. There we go. Is that better?
Nope, still see it. There you go.
There we go. Okay. Technical stuff.
Technical glitches. I am so glad that you were on this and having you be part of the You Define Wellness Network. We don't have any written questions in the chat box. Does anybody have a question that they want to ask real quickly? I'm going to count to 3, or count down from 3, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Every time I had a question, you answered it. So it was a very thorough job. So thank you. This is where I want to share with everyone about Julie being part of the You Define Wellness Network and what that is all about, because this is really kind of a cool thing that we have put together. Let me get to the next one. So you can find a list of health and wellness professionals on the internet. Heck, Yelp is one of them. But here's what's different between us and them. Our people are vetted. We actually do a criminal background investigation. Yes, Julie passed the criminal background investigation. No worries there, guys.
I did. I passed.
We're also looking at their licenses. We're looking at any disciplinary actions against them. We're looking at, are they a legal business? And most importantly, what their reputation is, and because I think that's really key. And so while when you're looking for someone to do business with, you should always be making your own background checks. You know that we have actually done that. And Julie is part of You Define Wellness, and what we are able to do with this network of health and wellness professionals is put together products like an employee benefit program, so you can actually have employers subsidize access to people like Julie, which you're not going to get with any other plans out there. We can have an education catalog of classes for the workplace, which is just if you're looking for a speaker on health and wellness, maybe for a lunch and learn or a community group or an association meeting, we have dozens of speakers with some great topics in it. So you can go to our website and download that information. And we had a lot of individuals who came to us and said, we want to play. And so we created a product for them, and it's a discount card. And it's for individuals, retirees, self-employed, anyone who walks the planet pretty much. And it is a card that does not expire. It's a one-time fee of $99. It's available for half price through the end of this month and the end of this confab, where all you have to do is present it to any of our providers. You can use it as many times in a month as you want. It doesn't matter. But those providers who accept the Healthy Living Savings Card will give you a discount on their products and services that they offer. And you can share it with your friends, your family, your next door neighbor, your coworkers. It doesn't really matter. Whoever presents that card gets the discount. And just go to our website at youdefinewellness.com in order to learn about more of these programs. And so last, again, I'm sharing Julie's contact information. She gave you a whole lot more. So there's this great little rewind button if you're watching this on a recording. Just go back and check out all of her contact information. And I lost my, sorry, technical glitches are just running rampant today. What can we say? But Julie, any last minute words you want to say?
No, I'm just so grateful that I got to share today, and I really appreciate the opportunity, Denise. And I love You Define Wellness. It's a great program and such a huge service to the community. We all really need it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So I thank you for being on it. I thank those who participated live and to be a part of this whole presentation. It always brings more energy to it when we have a live audience. And for those who are watching this as a recording, wherever you found it, we encourage you to go to our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, put You Define Wellness in the search bar. And when you get to our channel, follow us, because we have not only the 48 presentations from the Defining Wellness Confab, but we've got a bunch of other content on there, so you can get to know health and wellness professionals before you're actually working with them. And Julie, one last thing. Are you able to work with clients anywhere in the world?
Yes, I am. Absolutely. As long as you have an internet connection, we're good.
So this is a great thing, is that you can access Julie's services no matter where you live in the world. And so you don't have to be just in Colorado to use her. All right. Sure. With that being said, thank you, everyone, and hope to see you on another recording.